What's up, team? Just wanted to, I try to every year at the end of camp send out a text or a message. I decided to do a video this year, just a final word for you. Man, thank you. Thank you so much for the privilege of taking your students to camp. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I love it. It's tiring, it's exhausting, there's a lot of sun, there's too much screaming, there's people asking me way too many questions with voices that are shy, but I love it, and I want you to know that I love your student. I really do. I told them this week, I know they're not my kids, I know they're your kids, but I look at them as part of my kids. I just love them, and I'm so grateful that you entrusted us with the tremendous responsibility to love them and shepherd them this week. And man, I really believe that God did some amazing things this week. I was praying specifically. This was a new camp, we'd never been to it, so there's always a level of, what's it going to be like and what have you. Man, it was absolutely tremendous. They did a phenomenal job. A lot of times camp messages are very shallow, and this was just not the case at this week of camp. They taught the Bible, and they taught it on their level, and students learned, and it was theologically rich, and messages that an adult, myself as a pastor, gleaned very much from. And so praise God for that. I always like to give a few, I've done this in text form before, but I give you a few recommendations. Some of you are camp season pros. Some of you, this was the first summer that your student went to camp. And so let me just throw this out there, and you do with it what you will. And I'm going to suggest that you let them sleep before you ask them all the questions. I want you to imagine like staying awake way too long every day after like 7 times the normal physical exertion that these students normally put forth, and then you just hype yourself up on an adrenaline and caffeine, and then someone hands you a final exam at the end of that week. It's not going to go well. So I promise they made a ton of memories. I'm going to be posting a link for pictures, and once we get all those compiled from our leaders, and they made a ton of memories. They have a lot of stories to show you. It just may be tomorrow. So give them the space to go crash, go recover, go resurrect from your camp coma, right? And so that's something I always recommend. And then I'll say this, like, set down your expectations. Whenever we send, and it is an investment, it's a financial investment, it's a time investment. You missed your baby this week. But set down the expectation that you had at camp. Maybe they've got a certain problem that you were hoping camp would fix. I've had parents tell me that before, and some people, they made great decisions this week. Life-changing decisions were made this week. For some of the students, the fact that they showed up, they got on the van, and they came with us was enough decision, and it's a big deal. So celebrate whatever decision was made that week. God very rarely works the way that we think He should, and so celebrate it and receive. Be a safe place for these students. And then I want to let you know the messages this week were framed around the subject of identity. Every text, every lesson was on identity, and there were decisions for salvation this week. There were decisions for several students decided that they wanted to be in full-time Christian service with their life this week, and those would be celebrated. I want to let you know this camp actually sets you up to lead and love your students in a way that is so desperately needed. On the last night of camp, it was very appropriate. They were very kind. They were very clear. They were very biblical. But they did a lesson on a sexual identity, and it talked about God's plan for sexuality, God's design for sexuality, how all the pitfalls that can come, and I've seen those messages been done so poorly and so just not helpful, really. Either they're sensational or they're just crude, or this was not the case. This was one of the best messages I've ever heard on biblical sexuality. And your students receive that. And I want you to know that, because if you'll let it be, this is a tremendous gift to you as a parent. Guys, please, I see this a lot, and I know you know this. Our kids are being decimated, absolutely taken out by the enemy in this area of sexuality. And we're either going to be a safe place and a support for them, or we're not. And so as a pastor in your church, as a pastor who loves these students, I love each one of your students so much. I'm asking you, I can only be as much as a help as I can be, but everything rises and falls on how you lead at home. And so I'm asking you to press into this. If you need a couple resources, if you're wondering, I don't even know how to begin that conversation. I've got so much brokenness in that area of my own life, or I'm just scared, or I'm afraid of how I will react. If my student shares something with me, I want to recommend a couple resources. The guy who ran the camp was Clayton King, and he has a book that he just released called True Love Project. And the content from his message was largely in that book. That would be a resource you could look up. There's a great resource called Unwanted for anybody who's struggling with sexual brokenness by a man named Jay Stringer. I highly recommend that book. And there's a great film that I would encourage you to watch. It wouldn't be great for younger kids, but it would be great for older kids, and especially great for you, called The Heart of Man. A tremendous documentary / film on just a sexual struggle and the way the gospel redeems that. And so here's why I'm telling you all that. I don't normally go into that, but it was such a gift that I think this camp gave you, where they were bold and they took a stand in an area that's just, I need you to hear this. It's killing your kid. I know. Let me just speak to, I was the kid that everybody thought was perfect in the youth group. I just was. And I sat on the front row, I took the notes, and nobody would have thought that as a young teenage boy that I would have had struggles in this area, but I did. And I wasn't sure who to go to. And so I'm asking you to not only be a safe place, but begin to let this be a healing journey for your family, because it can be. God can redeem. He is redeeming. He's doing such a great work in this area in our church, and I want to see that continue. And so your student may bring you something that is messy. It's one of those things maybe it sounds taboo to you. Here's what I need you to know. The gospel's already paid for it all. They have a heart to get healed and get right and walk with somebody they can trust, and I want that to be you as their parent, as their leader, as their guardian. And so it's just something, I don't normally share those many details on some of the things, but I wanted to reach out to you and just say, hey, please press into this, because our kids need it. And these students who have gone to camp are in a special place where if we will hold their vulnerability, their brokenness, their confessions well, man, we could reap an absolute generational change in some of these things. And so that's what I'm praying for, and I encourage you to do it. If you have any questions, or if you're not sure where to begin, or if you want to come talk to me with your student, or talk to Pastor Bob, it was a great thing, man. Please thank Pastor Bob and Angela and Sherry. Like they were just absolutely tremendous in how they loved our students this week. It was really special. They're such a great team that did some amazing things. I'll say one more thing. Sunday night, we've done this in the past and seen any great thing. I want to invite you to our teen service. We have a teen class at 5 p.m. It'll be probably 5 to 6:30, 7 o'clock on Sunday night. And we'd love just to have you. We'll just have I'm going to share a little bit, but then we'll just have a brief testimony celebration time with our students. I know not every schedule would allow that to happen, but if you can come, bring your family, bring the siblings. I just want these kids to have an opportunity to, the Bible says, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. And so I want to give them an opportunity to say so. And man, thank you. Thank you to each one of you. I'm grateful to be able to get to hang out with your students. I'm grateful that you allow me into their lives, and I want to support you. We take kids to camp because we want every family better, and they're part of your family. They're a big deal in our church. Someone told me today, and they meant it well. They said, this is the future. I said, yeah, they are, but they're also the now. And so I'm believing God did some awesome things this week, guys. I am so grateful just for what I get to do with my life. It's incredible. But not only that, what God is doing. And I really believe from this year of camp, we're gonna look back and go, that was a watershed moment for some of the lives of our students, and I believe the lives of our ministry. It's a big deal. So I love you guys. Anything I can do for you, let me know. I'm probably going to take a nap when I get home here in a little bit. I need one. But after that, feel free. I love you all. Hopefully we'll see you Sunday.